Now let's take a look at blackness. Though neither aliens nor enemies, American blacks during World War II are going to suffer from white hostility and oppression, because for Black America, the theme was "Your color offends." While government and business legally married, while labor in agriculture and industry was asked to cooperate or else, while women were told to go home, wait, then come back to work, and then told to go back home, for Black America, well, you're black. Your color offends. The battle for freedom, as the Allies fought in Europe against fascism and white supremacy under the guise of Nazism, did not promise freedom for dark peoples in the United States. To give you an example of the hypocrisy that was embedded in the racialization process as practiced by the United States federal and state systems, let's visit an experience by a black soldier named Lloyd Brown as he tried to get served in Salina, Kansas during the war. Now, during the war, Germans who were caught as spies were sent to 2 prison camps. One, because of the intensity of their spying, if they were a threat, they were sent to a prison in New Jersey. But another one was a prison camp in Salina, Kansas. And there, this was for minor offenses, but they served prison sentences during the war. Fortunately for these German prisoners of war in Salina, Kansas, they only had to spend time in prison during the week. They were given furlough from prison on weekends. And Lloyd Brown, with several others, went one day to a lunchroom on the main street of Salina, and this is what he reported, and these are his words. As we entered, the counterman hurried to the rear to get the owner, who hurried out front to tell us with urgent politeness, "You boys know we don't serve colored here." Of course we knew it. They didn't serve colored anywhere in town. The best movie house did not admit Negroes. There was no room at the inn for any black visitor, and there was no place where he could get a cup of coffee. "You know we don't serve colored here," the man repeated. We ignored him and just stood there inside the door, staring at what we had come to see: the German prisoners of war who were having lunch at the counter. We continued to stare. This was really happening. It was no jive talk. The people of Salina would serve these enemy soldiers and turn away Black American GIs. So for Black America, your color offends. Now, what about Italians? Like other recently arrived immigrant groups, the Italians were largely unskilled and unlettered. They were commanding the worst kinds of jobs that had been hard to find during the Great Depression. And many Italians remembered the experiences of Sacco and Vanzetti. So months after the Italian declaration of war against Great Britain, Americans became suspicious of Italians in their midst. But Roosevelt's executive order of December 8, 1941, designated as enemy aliens all Italian, German, and Japanese non-citizens. So the order suspended naturalization proceedings and restricted physical movement and employment opportunities of those to whom it pertained. So all Italians in the United States are going to feel the brunt of unjust discrimination. The order, and even more, the attack on Pearl Harbor, moved Italian Americans immediately to express their loyalty to the United States. So federal officials moved to change the Italian situation, especially since Roosevelt needed Italian political support in the 1942 congressional elections in states like New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, where the Italian population was significant in the congressional districts. Democratic congressional candidates in the Northeast needed the Italian vote, which the Republicans had been cultivating. Roosevelt ingeniously lifted the enemy alien designation from the Italians on Columbus Day, 1942. Very appropriate. The order established simplified procedures for the rapid naturalization of Italians. And just like that, Italians became Americans. John Morton Blum, in his book V Was for Victory, states, "The president's order marked the beginning of the end of Italian-American separatism. Joe DiMaggio and Frank Sinatra became popular American icons. Italians became Americans. Now, we've covered the Germans, we've covered the Italians. Now, what about the Japanese?